There is an envelope on your kitchen table. You did not put it there. You live alone. The door was locked. You checked it before bed the way you always check it, once firmly, handle down. The windows too. You are the kind of person who checks. Who notices? Who would remember? The envelope is cream-colored. Heavy stock. Your name on the front in black ink, handwritten, in the most precise handwriting you have ever seen. Not printed. Written. Each letter formed with a patience that feels personal. Feels deliberate. Feels like whoever held that pen was thinking about you very carefully while they wrote. No stamp. No return address. It was not mailed. It was placed. You pick it up. The paper is cold in a way that paper should not be cold in a warm kitchen. You open it. 1 sheet. 12 lines. You begin reading. By the 4th line you have stopped breathing. By the 8th your hands are shaking. By the 12th you have read a precise, specific and accurate description of exactly how you are going to die. The date is 17 days from today. Chapter 1. What the letter knows. The letter describes an evening. 17 days from now. Your apartment. After 8 and before 10. It describes the weather, rain from the northwest, and you check your phone and the extended forecast shows rain that night, northwest origin, and you put the phone down slowly. It describes what you will be wearing. A gray shirt. You own one. You go to the closet and find it and you are telling yourself gray shirt means nothing, a guess, anyone could guess, until you read the specific detail. A small burn mark near the left cuff. From a candle 14 months ago, at a dinner you barely remember. You look at the cuff. The mark is there. Faint. Yours. The letter does not say how. This is the center of everything. 12 lines of specific, verifiable detail, and then at the moment itself 4 words. And then it is done. You have worked with documents your entire professional life. You know what deliberate omission looks like. This is deliberate. Whoever wrote this letter knows how. They chose not to tell you. No signature. No demand. No instruction. This is not a threat asking for something. Not a warning pointing somewhere. It is a description. Patient. Accurate. The last evening of your life committed to cream paper by someone who checked every detail before writing it down. You are 31 years old. You are a financial documents analyst. You live alone and pay your bills on time and have never done anything to anyone that should produce 12 lines of cream paper on a locked kitchen table. You fold the letter back into thirds. You put it in the drawer. You stand in your kitchen for a long time. You think about 17 days. Chapter 2, the second letter. You go to the police on day 3. The detective assigned to your report is a man named Carver who listens the way experienced people listen, without expression, without hurry. He reads the letter twice. He photographs it. He asks whether anyone has a reason to frighten you. You say no. He asks if you have any disputes, financial, personal, professional. You say no. He tells you to contact him if anything else arrives and gives you a card and a case number and the specific non-reassurance of institutional procedure. Nothing changes. You go back to work. You read documents all day and think about the letter the entire time, and none of it reaches your face because you learned long ago to keep your face from showing what is happening behind it. On day 6 there is a second envelope on the kitchen table. Same paper. Same handwriting. Same locked door. Same morning light. This one contains 4 words. You moved the shirt. That is all. You moved the shirt. Because on day 4 you took the gray shirt from the closet and put it in a bag in the back of your wardrobe, and this letter knows you did that. Which means whoever wrote it is not watching from outside. They are watching from inside. From somewhere inside your apartment or inside your life close enough to see a shirt move from one place to another inside a locked home. You look at the apartment the way you look at a document you suspect is hiding something structural. Slowly. Methodically. Starting from the edges and working inward. It takes you 25 minutes. The device is behind the bathroom light fixture. Small. Older model. It has been there long enough that a thin layer of dust has settled around its edges. Whoever placed it was not in a hurry. They planned for it to be there a while. You do not remove it. You understand immediately why you cannot remove it. Because removing it tells them you found it, and knowing something the other party does not know you know is the only advantage you currently have. You leave it exactly where it is. You go to work. You perform a completely ordinary day. It is the most difficult performance of your life. Chapter 3. The Shape of the Missing Thing. On day 9 you take the letter to your desk at work during a quiet afternoon and you read it the way you read everything. Professionally. Looking for the structure underneath the surface. You are not searching for the how, which is omitted deliberately and which you accept you will not find in the text. You are searching for the absence. The shaped hole in the language where something was removed before writing. The letter describes the apartment, the time, the weather, the clothes, the evening. What it does not describe is a reason. There is no why. A threat without a why is a document without a source. In your professional experience, a document without a named source is always hiding one. The why is there. It was taken out before the letter was written. And a why means this is not random. A why means something preceded this. Something you did or saw or touched that you did not understand the value of at the time. You go back through your own work. 2 years of files. You are looking for the anomaly. The case that moved through your desk in a way that did not quite fit the stated reason. 3 days of quiet searching during lunch breaks and late evenings when the office empties. On day 12, 5 days before the letter's date, you find it. A liability file from 19 months ago. It came to your desk on a Monday and left on a Wednesday, reassigned, standard workload reasons, nothing remarkable. But on the Tuesday between arrival and reassignment you read it carefully, the way you read everything, and you wrote 4 words in the margin in pencil on page 9. Clause 7. Language inconsistent. 4 words in your handwriting indicating that you noticed the place where the document's language did not match its stated purpose. The file was paid out 3 weeks later at full value. The claim was worth $3.2 million. And your 4 penciled words, if anyone had followed them, would have stopped that payment entirely. You sit with this for a long time. You are not a target because of who you are. You are a target because of 4 words you wrote in a margin 19 months ago without thinking twice about it because noticing was simply what you did. You call Carver. You tell him about the file. You tell him about the margin. You tell him the amount. You hear him stop moving on the other end of the line. Chapter 4. What the letter actually was. Carver calls back the next morning. His voice carries a different weight than it carried before. He tells you the liability file connects to a fraud network that his department has been building a case around for 14 months. He tells you the 4 words in your margin are the only handwritten contemporaneous notation from someone who physically handled the original document before the numbers were altered in a later version. He tells you that in court those 4 words in your handwriting on that specific page are worth more than 40 hours of digital evidence because they cannot be argued as fabricated after the fact. They are real. They are dated. They are yours. Then he tells you about the letter. He tells you it was not a plan. It was a question. The people who needed your 4 words to stay buried needed to know what kind of person you were before they decided what to do about you. If you panicked, they learned you were manageable. If you ran, they learned you were frightened, and frightened people make poor witnesses. If you went to the police immediately and disclosed everything, they could track exactly what the investigation knew through the device still sitting behind your bathroom fixture. But if you stayed and read the letter carefully, and traced it backward through the documents the way a person does who understands that everything leaves a structure, then you were exactly what they could not afford. Someone who reads until they understand. Someone whose 4 words in a margin were not luck but habit. 17 days of data. Every decision you made they observed. You gave them their answer. And once they had the answer, the nature of the date in the letter changed completely. Because the date was never an ending. It was a deadline. A point by which they needed to know whether you were a problem they could manage or a problem that was already past managing. You think about the letter sitting in your drawer. You think about the burn mark on the cuff of a gray shirt you have not touched in 11 days. You think about 4 words in pencil on page 9 of a file that left your desk on a Wednesday morning and carried your noticing with it into a fraud that paid out $3.2 million to people who needed your handwriting to not exist. Chapter 5. The evening. The rain comes from the northwest. You stand at your kitchen window at 7:40 and watch it arrive exactly as described, and there is something clarifying about watching a small prediction come true. The weather does not know it is part of anything. It simply does what the atmosphere requires. You are not wearing the gray shirt. Carver is in the stairwell with 2 colleagues. The device behind the bathroom fixture has been transmitting to a location his team identified and has been monitoring for 4 days. The person whose name appears in the files connected to the portal access that pulled your records left their office at 5:51 and did not go home. You make coffee. Your hands are steady in the way that hands become steady when there is nothing left to do but wait, and you have accepted the waiting completely. You stand in your kitchen where 17 days ago an envelope appeared on a table in a locked apartment, and you drink your coffee, and you are still here, which is the thing that matters most and the thing that felt, at various points across 17 days, least guaranteed. Your phone rings at 8:19. Carver. He says they have them. 2 people. The apartment building. He says you can breathe. You put the phone on the counter. You look at the kitchen. The drawer. The table. The ordinary surfaces of a life that someone spent 17 days deciding the value of and reached the wrong conclusion about. 3 weeks later, Carver sits across from you and explains what the investigation produced. The fraud network. The claims. The specific way your 4 margin words became the anchor for a case that digital records alone could not fully hold. He tells you the letter was written by a professional, someone hired for precise language, given one instruction. Determine what this person does when they are afraid. Write something that will show us who they are. You take the train home in November. The rain from the forecast is cleared and the streets are wet, and the light does the thing it does after rain, where everything is slightly more itself than usual. You think about 19 months ago and a Tuesday afternoon and a file on your desk that you read carefully because that is what you did with every file on your desk. You think about how completely ordinary that Tuesday was. How entirely unremarkable the act of reading carefully felt at the time. You get home. You unlock the door. The kitchen is quiet and clean and completely yours. You go to the wardrobe. You take the gray shirt out of the bag. You hang it back in the closet where it belongs. You look at the burn mark on the cuff for a moment. Then you close the closet door. Some things that are written about you turn out to be wrong. This is worth knowing. This is, it turns out, worth 17 days of everything to know.